Auckland, New Zealand, Tāmaki Makaurau, Aotearoa, a vibrant cosmopolitan city of 1.5 million people, set upon a natural playground of 48 volcanic cones, nestled between two dramatic coastlines. This November, we welcome the world, the Hockey World League Final.
To play those games against the top teams in the world, I think that's what we're really excited about. It's nice that they're coming to our hometown now and we get to play them here.
Argentina are always fiery. They've got the skill and they've got the potential to rip open any team.
They'll be a good defensive side and they'll just pop one in at the last minute and make you really work for a win. It'll be a little bit different having England rather than GB.
They're on the up as well. Obviously, they're the gold medalists from last year. Another European side who know how to play hockey. They pass the ball well, they play a good team game, and they've got a few dangerous strikers up front.
Korea, always a really challenging side. Their basic skills are always really high, and the Dutch, they're like the pinnacle of world hockey. For the crowd, that's amazing to watch. For us, it's actually pretty hard to deal with. The USA have just done really well, actually. They won their World League semi-final, and we know that they're a really fit and physical team.
And the home team, the Vantage Blacksticks.
Obviously, we'll have lots of our own fans there, but to have like other people come over as well, I think that's really awesome.
Our turf, our time.
Our turf, our time.
The Hockey World League Final, November 17 to 26, Auckland, New Zealand. Tickets are on sale now from ticketek.co.nz.
Yes, good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, to the 2017 Ford National Hockey League K-Cup final between Bailey's Midlands and Mark Cromie Holden Northland. Two teams that have been excellent all week, Chris, and very deservedly so, earning their places in today's final in the capital city. The sun beaming down, perfect conditions, a little bit of wind, shouldn't affect play too much, and everything's set up for a great final. The stand is completely full. People on the embankments, and here at the National Hockey Stadium here in Wellington, the capital city, truly a fantastic setting. As we look at the Midlands team, you want to talk us through that, Chris?
Yeah, as we see the teams led out onto the field, Bailey's Midlands led out by their captain and controller, Sam Charlton. Look out for her in the middle of the field. A very, very strong player. Sally Rutherford in goal, also one to watch. Look, they've got firepower all over the pitch, and I think none more so than Jemma McCaw up the front. So look out for her. She's been scoring goals regularly this week, and they'll be looking to get the ball to her as early and as often as possible.
As we go to the Mark Cromie Holden Northland lineup, Alana Laybourne will lead the side in the final with Nicola Howes in the cage. And look out for number 8, Stacey Mickelson, running the cutter in the middle of the field. She'll be hugely influential, you have to think, Chris. As well as Brooke Neal as well in shirt number 9. And Ella Gunson in 14, also one to watch. But all around the park, Chris, both teams just a huge amount of talent. Very high level skilled. I'm not sure I can pick it, Chris. Not sure what the TAB says, but what do you suggest?
Yeah, look, I think you've probably got the two best teams in the tournament playing in the final. And from a neutral perspective, that's what you want. As I said earlier, there's firepower across both teams. I think we're going to see plenty of goals. I can't pick it early on, but look, we'll chuck it out there and we'll say the experience of Northland having played in a number of finals over the past few years without having come through, I think that experience is really going to pull through for them. Midlands having won the tournament in 2013, and a number of those players are still in their lineup today. But look, let's see if the experience of Northland and the way that they've been able to play in a number of deciders recently might come to the fore. As we see Midlands attacking early, and Charlton trying to connect with Rose Cadell. Brooke Neal stifling the first attack, and I think that's going to be a key facet of Northland's game. Brooke Neal playing in that, looks like the free defender role, Ari. Position you love to do, you don't like to mark, and it's a key position on the hockey field, isn't it?
Certainly, Chris, have done well. Absolutely. So Brooke not a marking defender. She'll sort of sweep predominantly through the layer between the defence and the midfield. And like we saw just earlier with that first Midlands attack, she'll sweep and clean up any loose ball around the perimeter of the circle. And a good example early on of how to do the job.
For those viewers at home that might not be too aware, the Northland girls are wearing a beautiful blue, while the Midlands girls are in a electric orange. As Shiloh Gloy makes a good intercept and Charlton feeds the ball back through. Some more good build-up from Midlands early on, Ari. It's a beautiful setting here in this natural amphitheatre of the National Hockey Stadium. Wellington really has turned it on for finals day, and you can't beat it on a good day, can you?
Certainly not, Chris, the capital city. And, we've had a few wet days during the week. The teams have adapted. And as we see Midlands here with another attack, but the transfer ball not finding a Midlands stick, and the ball travels over the sideline for a defensive sideline hit to Northland.
Yeah, good work from Taryn Davey through that midfield. One to watch as well, a youngster who is, I think, captain the Midlands under-21 side, who come away with the gold medal this year. I think you'll find that's back-to-back wins for them. So a lot of experience, I guess, in terms of that team. A lot of those players are out there today. So what a year it would be for them if they were able to capture a second gold as McCall looks to inject herself into the attack. But our official, Amber Church, calls her up. She's joined in the green shirt today by Kelly Hudson, two of the best refs we've got on offer in the country, and quite rightly so. They're officiating today's game.
Yeah, Jimmy McCall, Chris, injecting herself early. I know she's up around the top goal scorers for the week. She's been in 5 form in the orange for Midlands, and you'd have to think a very dangerous player that the Northland women will have to be very aware of, especially in their defensive quarter.
Yeah, 100%. I think she's a danger. Look, I think both teams have got danger players all across the pitch, and that's what makes this game really exciting. And as we've seen early on, I think Midlands have obviously put the heat on the girls in blue pretty early. But look for Midlands to continue to do that, while Northland will just look to find some possession and then start to really counter, especially through the likes of Mickelson and Gunson through the middle of the field.
So far, Chris, perhaps Midlands with the better of the field territory and position. Northland, so far, though, doing well to weather the storm, as they say. They've been staunch in defence and covered well, so they'll be happy having gone nearly almost the first 5 minutes without conceding, and they'll be looking now to bring play forward and attack Midlands.
Yeah, 5 minutes in, you'd say Midlands have a little bit of ascendancy, but I think this game's going to go back and forth, and we're going to see, I guess, the fitness of both teams really pull through. There's a lot of work that goes into being into this game. It's not just what happens during the week and not what just happens today. So it's an effort that, for some of them, it's over a number of years that they've worked towards getting themselves into a position where they can, play in this final and be a real asset to their team. So it's exciting to see as Northland finally break through into the attacking zone. Sophie Morrison with a good carry there, but dispossessed by Rose Cadell. She's one to watch on the right-hand flank for Midlands. Key player within the Vantage Black Stick setup. They'll look to feed a lot through that right-hand flank and look to exploit the Northland defence out wide, and then look to use some speed through the midfield.
Certainly, Chris, I think Rosie Cadell on the right defender, going up that right-hand channel. If she can link with her skipper, Sam Charlton, in the middle. Obviously, those two have played a lot of hockey together, both in the orange dress and for the Vantage Black Sticks. If those two get going, this right-hand channel on your near camera side will be certainly one to watch.
Yeah, it's always interesting the connection that they have. They spend a lot of time together, having grown up in Tauranga, and they spend a lot of time on each other's Instagram as well. So a lot of social media from the two of them. And hey, sometimes that's what you want. You want to go inside the teams. You want to see what they're doing behind the scenes. And between Sam Charlton and Rose Cadell, I think you'll lose a lot of bandwidth, a lot of data within your mobile phones, but sometimes it's always good to see what they're doing behind the scenes and to see how they've got themselves to where they are today.
Yeah, well noted, Chris. And just for our viewers at home, we do apologise if you pick up a bit of wind noise through the mic. The comm box still under construction here at the National Hockey Stadium in Wellington, so we're operating out of the car boot up on the hill. And again, we're all for engagement with our viewers. Positive and negative feedback welcome. So that's you can comment directly on the live feed on Facebook. You can Snapchat on Joe.Bartholomew or text in on 021 Broseph.
I think it also should be noted as well that sort of in-depth analysis, sort of Justin Marshall Sky Sport Rugby scenario probably won't be happening today. Hence why they've asked us to commentate. So probably can't provide you too much with in-depth situations, but we'll give as good as we can and try and see what we can offer as Midlands continue to pile on the pressure in this first quarter.
Yes, Chris, we have a coming here on the text machine just now, Guy Strawbridge with an animal fighting scenario. 18 Tanifars or Honeifars versus the TAB. The environment is moist underfoot, slight breeze, running left to right as we see it. And Mark Cromie holding Northland, Chris, coming in on the TAB as rank outsiders at $3. Obviously, they've dropped right down. I think last time I saw it, they were $1.85 evens. I guess that's a bit of coin being thrown down on Northland, Chris. The punters back in that. I think $1.85 a piece is pretty reflective. Two very good sides, pretty evenly matched. And so far there's been nothing that separated them.
Yeah, as we see the first real chance go to Midlands, who shoot wide. I think probably 185 is quite a clear reflection of the similarities between the two sides. I think they've both got some really key players and also some really good players to complement them. So we're in for a hell of a battle. And as we've seen in this first quarter, sort of 10 minutes gone, Midlands probably had the lion's share of possession, but Northland, they're going to be staunch in defence. So we see another attack just stifled out by that defence. The pace of Midlands is really starting to showcase through here, Ari. Probably an asset they're looking to continue to play and really attack the fringes of the Northland team.
Absolutely, Chris. They look a well-drilled side. The fitness levels obviously very high across the Midlands squad. I'm not sure if you have any inside knowledge on the regime there in the Midlands camp. If you picked up anything on social media or your other sort of connections in there, Chris. But absolutely, they look a fit side. And as we see another circle entry through Sam Sheldon, she puts the ball across the goal and it struck a Northland defender for the first penalty corner of the K-Cup final. High fives all around for the Midlands girls, and they'll be happy with that, Chris.
Yeah, again, just using that pace that they've got on the outside and using the flanks. I think you'll find that between sort of Sam Charlton and Rose Cadell, I think they're two of the sort of more fitter girls within the Vantage Black Stick setup. And that'll sort of wear off within their environment as well. I think a lot of those girls will be aspiring to get to that level and working hard to get to that. And, you know, with the likes of Charlton and Cadell as inspiration, it's always going to help. Great save by the Northland keeper from a straight shot there. Looks like Megan Hull with the sweep.
And Nicola Howes there, Chris, in the goal for Mark Cromie Holden Northland. Very quickly to get down, diving to her stick side with what was a good shot at goal there from the penalty corner by Midlands. And that'll be hugely confidence boosting for her. They've had a few attacks already, Midlands, but that's probably her first big key save, and you know she'll take a lot of confidence out of that, as will the rest of the Northland defenders.
Yeah, look for Stacey Mickelson to start popping up for Northland. She's playing high up the field, as you can see, pressing, ring the number 8. Great intercept there from Ella Gunson, and she'll find Mickelson in the circle, who works herself a penalty corner. Right on cue there, Ari. I think she's listening into the commentary, finds herself in a bit of space, and well, a penalty corner Northland.
Absolutely, Chris, you've been around the block, and you know the game well. I think you're probably a little bit better than the commentators we had last night with the men's and women's senior finals. But yeah, mate, absolutely call it. Would you like to have a wee punt at the corner option here from Northland?
Yeah, we're going to go straight flick here from Brooke Neal. She's going to go bottom left. You can sort of see the way that she's setting up. It's where she's going, so stand by.
Tell you what, Chris, you're 1 from 2, it ain't bad. The final flick did come from the stick of Brooke Neal, but the German option, or sort of half-dragged layoff, for those not familiar with the terminology, and a good open look, but sprayed wide. So both sides with an early penalty corner in the first quarter here, and both failed to convert. As we head into the final 3 minutes of quarter 1 in the K-Cup Women's Final, and it's Bailey's Midlands and Mark Cromie Holden Northland tied with 2 donuts.
And another good interception there from Brooke Neal. She's really come accustomed to that free defender role, especially this week as well. I feel as though she's been a key ingredient for the Northland woman, along with Ella Gunson there, who puts in a rather aggressive tackle as Mickelson again picks up the ball in space. This is where she's dangerous, Ari.
Absolutely, Chris. She's good all over the park. Really good, like you said earlier, just popping up when you least expect it. Nipping the ball, and she'll go full steam straight for the circle. She won an early penalty corner for Northland, but they're just well defended there by the Midlands girls.
It's hard to judge, I guess, the crowd and where they're at as Midlands attack again. And Gemma McCaw, we talked about it.
To be what, Chris, that's a hell of a finish. A good ball put through to the far post. It was bobbling, but she got on the end of it well as we look at the replay.
Shiloh Gloin with a fantastic pass in. Gemma McCaw with a stunning deflection, you would say, and we sort of cast our eyes a little bit down to the left. I'm sure our man Richie McCaw, he'll be pretty pleased with that effort.
Would he what, Chris?
Midlands women take the lead in the NHL final with 1:40 on the clock in this first quarter.
And for those at home thinking that was a regulation finish, Chris, by all means not the case. That was a bobbly ball. McCaw diving, reverse stick, one hand on the stick, and just getting a wee touch to raise it over the Northland goalkeeper. And that's really a great example for all young hockey players, Chris, of the mindset and body positioning in the attacking circle, wouldn't you say?
Yeah, and that's what you want from a striker. Just being in the right place at the right time and being able to find a way to get it past a staunch defence. So it's a good start for Midlands, and I think probably deservedly taking the lead. They've been hot on attack for the majority of the quarter, and they've got the reward, which they'll be pleased about.
As we head into the final 45 seconds of quarter one. So Northland will be keen to get this ball out of their defence. Regroup. The ball was struck a player there, Midlands player, but she brushed it off and run back. Good show of strength there by her. Midlands dispossess in their back quarter. They'll just be looking to get this out of their defence with 10 seconds on the clock. Play it safe and go grab a drink. A good turnover there. Was saved by the buzzer. The ball striking the Midlands defender's foot just after the buzzer, so there'll be no penalty corner as both sides head to the sideline for a 2-minute intermission. End of quarter one. Chris, what do you make of it?
Yeah, look, I think that's a very good first quarter from both sides. Midlands probably a little bit more possession, a little bit more attack. Northland defending pretty well, except for, I guess, a touch of class from Jim McCaw in the attacking circle to give them the lead. But Northland have, you can see the way they're trying to play. They'll defend pretty staunchly and look to feed their strike power, especially Mickelson through that middle zone, and they're going to be a threat for sure, especially on that counter attack. So a good first quarter, I think, for the Ford NHL Women's Final. A lot of similar characteristics between both teams. The pace of Midlands has really been a feature, and you can see the likes of Charlton and Cadell really trying to put their foot down on the game, as well as the likes of McCaw up front and Amy Robinson with her pace. It's definitely going to be an electric game, and that's what we want to see.
Absolutely, Chris. Yeah, the Midlands women sort of favouring that right hand flank on the dugout side, the near side, as you look at it at home. And that combination down there, Chris, the Charlton-Cadell combo, it's already caused a bit of havoc, and they'll be looking to keep that going. And then for Northland, I think Stacey Mickelson, she'll be looking to get on the ball, and we've seen already a couple of times, won the ball in space up front, and been a real nuisance up there. So, like you said, Chris, she'll certainly be one to watch as the players make their way out after a short break to commence the second quarter in the 2017 Ford NHL Women's K-Cup Final.
Yeah, and I think that connection that they've got has really come a long way with that sort of increase in social media and Instagram presence that they have. They'll be looking for that to continue long after today's game, as they look to increase their followers and increase their fan base, especially leading into the Hockey World League finals, which are going to be hosted in New Zealand, which is an exciting time for a lot of these girls that are out there today, and a lot of the ladies that have been playing this week. An awesome opportunity for the Vantage Black Sticks in November to test themselves out against the best of the world on a home turf situation.
Yeah, absolutely, Chris, and it's a fantastic opportunity as well for the fans, New Zealand wide, not just in Auckland, to come down to the turfs and have a first-class example of international standard hockey with, you know, the best players in the world competing there. So a fantastic event to get the hosting rights to, as we see Midlands continuing their attack with some good perimeter defence by Northland.
And we've been lucky enough to be joined by a current NHL player in Kirsty Nation from the Canterbury Cat side, who unfortunately didn't end up on the right end of the score today. But Kirsty, what's your make of that first quarter?
It was good from both sides, but I reckon it'll be interesting to see how the rest of the 3 quarters play out. Yeah. What about you, Golds?
Yeah, I think it's a really attacking game. It's enjoyable to watch, and the sun's shining, beaming down on National Hockey Stadium. That's what you want. It's sort of everything you want and nothing you don't in an NHL final, and we're lucky enough to see a massive crowd here, and hopefully everyone at home's enjoying the spectacle as well. Again, that attacking threat from Cadell on the right-hand flank. Wasn't able to find an outcome, but it's a definite threat there for the Midlands girls, and obviously a ploy for them to continue to pivot that side, Ari, and so far so good, you could say.
Yeah, we called it early, Chris. Two sort of top-class women's players there in Cadell and Charlton in the New Zealand setup. And like, you play to your strengths, you know, the Midlands coaches, they'll be looking to exploit that. Two very, very dangerous attackers. And so far, they've been successful down that right-hand channel. So we can only expect they'll keep persisting. And I think even though 1-0 down, Northland doing a pretty handy job at defending. So we see Charlton again bursting forward.
Yeah, as Cadell takes a breather there. She's definitely feeling the effects of this beautiful weather. Cannot beat Wellington on a good day. What do you make of the sort of pink shoe, orange sock combination that a number of the Midlands girls are running here, Ari?
Well, Chris, you got to look good to play good. And I really like it. I think obviously the uniform in itself pretty bright, very eye-catching, and then it's pretty crucial to run a good set of kicks with it. I think you'd know that firsthand. I think you bought about 11 pairs of shoes this week away, three of them turf shoes, 7 casual sneakers, and then the slipper option as well, Chris. So I think you'd know that firsthand more than anyone. But certainly the girls do a good look out there. Charlton with a shot.
Oh, that's a great save on her knees. Nikki Howes, the double save there. It's fantastic effort from the Northland keeper, and that's, you know, moments like that could define this match. And Midlands again just, you know, doing well on the attack, but Northland, staunch defence, doing well, and they'll take a lot of confidence from what they're doing in that defensive end. Yeah, just going back to that sort of look good, feel good, play good scenario, it's crucial that, you know, you're feeling like you're $1 million out there, and a lot of these girls, you know, spend a lot of time making sure that they get everything right, make sure the hair's done well, the shoes complement the skirt, the dress, the top, And as you can see today, I think it's really come to the fore that they look good and they're playing well. That's what we want to see.
It's coming through on the text machine here, Chris. Guy Strawbridge's wanting to know your thoughts on the Sunday tuck-in. Tuck-in or let it loose? What are your thoughts?
Yeah, look, we can see a number of the girls have opted for a sort of tuck-in combination. The sort of top and skirt, as Midlands again looking to attack, but Northland and Brooke Neal staunch in defence. Yeah, so we've sort of got probably a half and half sort of Sunday tuck-in option here, with a lot of the girls wanting to, you know, feel as though they're aerodynamic across the turf, but a lot are also opting for just to let it loose and let the tops flow on top of the skirt. The way that the uniforms are designed these days, they're quite, you know, tight-fitting and aerodynamic anyway, is I think probably brought in by the All Blacks, and every other sport seems to have followed the same sort of scenario. So look, either option works well. As Midlands again attack, and Brooke Neal once again staunch in defence. Impressive from Brooke. I think in 2015 she was the most valuable player at the Ford NHL. Basically doing what she's been doing today, just in defence, controlling, a really good flat stick tackle, getting on that hotline, and she's a key player for not only Northland but for the Vantage Black Sticks. She's still only very young, which is an impressive effort. And look, I've heard a small rumour that if the Northland women win today, that Cam Haid might sort of appear on the pitch afterwards with a bit of a ring. So we'll see if that eventuates. But for the moment, she's fully focused in on this second quarter, as Midlands again hot on the attack. And another great save from Nikki Howes, stretched out left foot. Wowee, I enjoyed that.
Yes, thanks, mate. Yeah, that's fine goalkeeping there. A good reverse stick shot there, but would have hit the flying into the bottom right corner, but an outstretched left kicker saving the day by Nikki Howes is fantastic.
I tell you what, the pressure is really on Northland at the moment, but as we all know, pressure is a privilege. And for these girls, you know, they've earned the right to be put under pressure because they're in this game. So the ball's being put into the mixer quite often, but Northland are really coming to the fore, and as we know, a champion team will always beat a team of champions. So who's going to be that champion team today, Ari? Pretty even as we see the last 5 minutes of this first half play out.
You're not wrong, Chris. Obviously Midlands with a slender 1-goal lead at the moment, but as we know in hockey, anything can happen as Northland break forward. But we've already seen early in this week, Chris, Northland scoring late goals, and they'll be after much of the same here today to secure that K-Cup.
Yeah, Northland have been very impressive all week, and they topped their pool, quite rightly so. And happened to beat Midlands in their earlier matchup in pool play, which will give them a bit of confidence. Midlands with the advantage so far. Again, Brooke Neal, I don't think there's been a better player in this first 25 minutes of the game, Ari. She's been everywhere. She's cutting out a lot of the Midlands attacks, and again, the Northland defence just staunch, robust, and clinical when it counts.
Yeah, Brooke Neal's been fantastic. Certainly probably the performer so far for Northland. And perhaps because if she wasn't on the field, they could even find themselves, you know, 2 or 3 goals down. She's certainly lapped up a lot of ball at the back there, playing that central defender or free defender role. And in the Northland camp, they'll be very happy with how she's performing today.
Yeah, and I think it's quite nice that we see Mark Neal, father of Brooke, running the cutter on the sideline there. Managerial duties. As we know, a good manager really is effective for a team, and something that, you know, a number of teams, especially the team you've been involved with this week, Ari, has been missing a good manager. As McCaw finds space, and a great one too, and that is a great goal. Finished off on the line. I think you'll find might have been Rose Cadell on the far post as we look at the replay. Kate Kernahan back to McCaw, who puts it to Rose Cadell, who finishes off, may or may not enjoy her eggs poached. From that angle, we could not tell, but it's better to be safe than sorry, Ari.
You're not wrong, Chris, but I think that was poached. McCaw with a wee bit of a finger point. You know, that was her double. That was her second. But I think, you know, she's played in some big matches, both for Midlands and New Zealand, obviously. And I think as long as that ball's hitting the back of the goal, I don't think she'll turn mind much at the end of the day, anyway.
Yeah, look, I think it's just an all-round team goal, and that's the beauty of the way that Midlands play, is that they can overlap, and we see, you know, Rose Cadell defending here in the right position, ended up on the baseline scoring the goal, and that's the beauty of the way that Midlands play. They like to express themselves out on the flanks, and we've talked about that combination on the right-hand side, and, well, it worked. Yes, girl, I have enjoyed that.
Yeah, correct, Chris. Yeah, Cadell in that right defender position with a bit of a licence up that channel. And the right defender, right half, Chris, I know you played a bit there in your time. I'm not sure you've got too many sort of far post tap-ins ever, but maybe you just talk us through briefly the role of Cadell there in that position.
Yeah, like I think it's a way that you can definitely attack and overload and utilise, I guess, an attacking weapon. You know, playing in that right half position, sort of struggle with the old trapping of the ball, so it makes it hard to kind of do anything from that, but being able to just sort of one-touch it into the goal from the baseline is probably something that, as a right half, you dream of. It's always nice to get yourself on the score sheet, but I think that position can only be played well if you've got people doing the jobs all over the field and allowing yourself to get nice and high, and, you know, kind of getting yourself into the midfield or even into the strike line and promoting to 4 midfielders or 4 strikers. And effectively, as Midlands have done it, it's seen them get themselves out to quite a nice 2-goal lead coming into half-time.
So just 90 seconds on the clock, Chris. Midlands with the ball in there. Defensive quarter. What's the plan here? Do they push for one more, or do they take that 2-goal lead to the sheds?
Oh, why have 2 when you can have 3, mate? I think 3-goal cushion as Taryn Davey with a nice elimination and reverse stick. Another good save. They're going to keep pressing, these Midlands girls. They're an attacking side. They love to play attractive hockey, and as we speak, the double fist pump from Sam Charlton on the ground, in space. And the Midlands girls have jumped out to a very, very comfortable 3-goal lead.
And again, Chris, that unmarked player on that right post, and that's Charlton as well. That's a midfielder, so like you just earlier alluded to, they're promoting those midfielders, those defenders forward, getting extra numbers up into the circle, and really reaping the benefits there with another, well, not quite a tap-in, but another far post goal. And with just 50 seconds remaining, 3-0. There won't be many complaints in the Midlands camp about this first half. Well, I have 2 and you can have 3, eh, mate?
Final seconds of this second quarter in the half, as the hooter sounds on a very, very comprehensive first half for the girls in orange. The Bailey's Midlands crew really pleased with what they've done. You can see the coaching staff high-fiving. The girls know they've put in a really good half, but what they will know is in 10 minutes time they need to come out and continue to do what they've been doing. A really good half from the Inari, and the Northland girls, they've got a little bit to work on, but as we know, a lot can happen in 2 or 3 minutes within hockey, so the game's not over, and they'll reassess, get into the changing sheds and think about what to do and come back fighting in the second half. We'll take a quick break. We'll be back with you very, very shortly.
In a high-risk environment, you need a teammate who never takes their eye off the ball. So we've got the Black Sticks to put Ford's driver assist technology to the ultimate test.
Is that a little bit close to the wall?
Nah, this will be easy.
We've got it, for sure. Should we do it?
Yeah.
Let's go. I reckon we got this.
Radio girls, back her out.
While the Black Sticks are focused on reaching their goal, Ford Driver Assist is on defence, helping read what's going on around them with Bliss blind spot detection. And adaptive cruise control, helping maintain a safe following distance from the car ahead. And when someone brakes suddenly, City Safe brakes automatically, helping you to stop in your tracks.
Was the braking a bit scary for you girls?
Trust Ford Driver Assist to help you stay in control.
I'm glad we didn't have to go over that.
Auckland, New Zealand, Tāmaki Makaurau, Aotearoa, a vibrant cosmopolitan city of 1.5 million people, set upon a natural playground of 48 volcanic cones, nestled between 2 dramatic coastlines. This November, we welcome the world, the Hockey World League Final.
To play those games against the top teams in the world, I think that's what we're really excited about.
It's nice that they're coming to our hometown now and we get to play them here.
Argentina are always fiery. They've got the skill and they've got the potential to rip open any team.
They'll be a good defensive side and they'll just pop one in at the last minute and make you really work for a win.
It'll be a little bit different having England rather than GB.
They're on the up as well. Obviously, they're the gold medalists from last year. Another European side who know how to play hockey. They pass the ball well, they play a good team game, and they've got a few dangerous strikers up front.
Korea, always a really challenging side. Their basic skills are always really high, and the Dutch, they're like the pinnacle of world hockey. For the crowd, that's amazing to watch. For us, it's actually pretty hard to deal with. The USA have just done really well, actually. They won their World League semi-final, and we know that they're a really fit and physical team.
And the home team, the Vantage Black Sticks.
Obviously, we'll have lots of our own fans there, but to have like other people come over as well, I think that's really awesome.
Our turf,
our time. Our turf, our time.
The Hockey World League Final, November 17 to 26, Auckland, New Zealand. Tickets are on sale now from ticketek.co.nz.
And welcome back to the Ford NHL Women's Final, the battle for the K Cup, as the team in orange, the Midlands girls, walk out onto the field with a nice 3-goal lead after an impressive first half, which they definitely had the lion's share of possession and dominated and put away 3 pretty classy goals, Ari, to Gemma McCaw, Rosie Cadell and Sam Charlton, the big 3 of the Midlands crew, and pretty pleased with their efforts so far.
Big 3 indeed, Chris. Obviously the first goal, a great example of what a striker should be doing in the circle by McCaw. A diving deflection on her reverse stick side, just getting a wee touch, lifting the ball over Nikki Howes. And then the goals to Cadell and Charlton, both on the back post. Both well-worked team goals. Movement of the ball around the circle, and then Charlton and Cadell, obviously midfielders and defenders respectively, promoting themselves for getting in the mixer and finding themselves unmarked on the back post. Cadell for a simple tap-in, which I know, Chris, you're pretty quick to point the finger and say it was a poach. And then Charlton with a slightly more difficult finish, controlling the ball nicely, and then just hitting the ball below a diving Nikki Howes, who was left a bit stranded.
Yeah, as we see the water cannons just firing up again to make sure the surface is as good as it can be for these two teams who deserve the best quality. They are the 2 best teams at this tournament. And at the moment we are seeing the Midlands team really putting their best foot forward. A 10-minute half time. What do you think was said in the changing room of the Northland women, Ari?
It looks like it's blasting rocket.
You know, Chris, I think they almost consider themselves perhaps a little bit unlucky. 3 goals down. They've had some chances. They also had a penalty corner. A well-worked move with Brooke Neal just missing the target. But hey, I think the 3 goals they conceded all sort of around that sort of 5-yard zone and around the goal. So they'll be looking to tighten up at the back. And like we just earlier alluded to, with Midlands promoting those players forward, it means the strikers and attacking midfielders of the Northland team really have to put in that legwork to get back, to pick up their players. Obviously, with the Midlands girls punching through from defensive positions, they found themselves unmarked in key areas. So they'll be looking to perhaps tighten up a bit at the back.
It's crucial that, you know, you don't leave players unmarked, especially on that back post. Something that I'm sure the Northland girls will be looking to counter.
4, 3, 2, 1.
As we're back underway in this Ford NHL Women's Final,
The microphone even got weird in this way.
the Midlands, I think they call themselves the Otters, Ari, holding on to a really nice 3-goal lead. But straight away, Northland on attack, testing out Sally Rutherford in goal.
And a penalty corner awarded. What a start. I'm sure there was perhaps a bit of inspiration in the sheds from the Mark Cromie, Holden Northland coach, Nathaniel Joy. But that's the start they would have wanted, Chris. Gaining possession, going straight down the end, and you know, they peg one back here, just 30 seconds gone in the third quarter. Just a 2-goal deficit with still almost half an hour sort of play. They would consider themselves very much in this Ford NHL Women's K-Cup final. So let's see what Northland can produce here.
A letter in Chinese than English.
It was Brooke Neal saved and picked up and struck into the net.
Stacey Mickelson, a fantastic finish. Initial save from the Brooke Neal flick as we see the replay. Good low flick to the right-hand corner. And Stacey Mickelson on the fly. Cheeky fist pump. Fantastic goal, and I think Northland deserve that, Ari. They have had a number of chances, and game on.
Certainly the Northland women, I think, heading into the break, 3-0 down, perhaps didn't reflect how the first half had gone. I mean, Midlands probably did have the better of the position and certainly took their chances, but there they see reaping the rewards for some good amount of pressure, and it's a great example of how you want to start a half or start a quarter. As we see Midlands through Charlton, straight back on attack. Ball put across, deflecting off a Northland defender stick, out for a long corner, Midlands ball.
And again, the text machine firing up, coming through on the Facebook. Good to see game being watched over in Hong Kong, Ari, which is was awesome. And that's what we want to see. It's good that the calibre of this tournament is showcased around the world and across New Zealand. Everyone can see it. And today, the two best teams in the Ford NHL going head to head. And with that goal, it's definitely put this game back on a knife edge as Brooke Neal once again staunch in defence. And their main attacking threat, Stacey Mickelson, just carrying the ball forward.
As Midlands attack now through McCaw. And they've struck back. It might have been McCaw with the final touch there. She picked up the ball in the midfield and carried it all the way through, eliminating 2 or 3 Northland defenders on the way into the circle. An initial save as we look at the replay. And the ball just sneaking in behind Nikki Howes. And it was number 6, Charlotte Gloin, with the final touch. And behind Nikki Howes in goal and just pushing it into an open net. And what a response, Chris. Conceding just 30 seconds into the half, into the third quarter, I should say, sorry. And then coming straight back down the end and restating that 3-goal lead.
Yeah, it's exactly what you want to do. I guess when you just to concede a goal is to go back down the other end and put one in the back of the net. As Charlton uses all of her skill to work herself into the attacking zone. These Midlands ladies are really stepping up to the fore, and that's what you want in a final. Big games, pressure, a great opportunity, and they've really put their best foot forward, and it's impressive to see on the big stage. And I guess a lot of credit must go to the work that they've been doing. As we mentioned earlier, the under 21 women having won the national title for the previous 2 years, and a number of those players are out there today. Winners of the Ramesh Patel Shield last year as a region. A fantastic effort from them, and what they're doing within that region is really taking full effect, especially on the women's side. And it is a pleasure to watch, Ari, especially out here today in front of a pretty boisterous and vocal crowd in Wellington, really displaying the talent that they have within their region and within their team today.
Yes, Chris, just like you said, really showing the depth in the region with quite a few of those younger age group players, like you say, coming through the ranks, performing at age group level, and now in the open grade, if you like, in the top flight, the women's Ford NHL. And like you were alluding to before, Chris, with our Hong Kong viewers, hello to you. Obviously, this is an international streaming platform, but this is international quality women's hockey. As a dangerous ball put through, but a free hit out to Northland. Brooke Neal on the ball. Yeah, it's an international standard of women's hockey, Chris. Obviously, like you alluded to earlier, there'll be these players out here. Some of them will be putting on that black dress in the World League finals in Auckland. in the coming months. And at 4-1, with some great well taken goals, Chris, for the viewers here today at the National Hockey Stadium and those who have tuned in via our stream. Just a great example of top women's hockey in New Zealand, as Midlands with another dangerous attack, unable to control it on the baseline, and a 16-yard hit out. And you have to say, Chris, Midlands really ramping it up in the sort of first 5 minutes of quarter 3 after conceding early on.
Yeah, really good play there from Amy Robinson, using her speed. I'm led to believe that away from the turf, she's pretty quick and does a lot of athletics, and has performed really well on that level too. So a pure athlete that is using all her talents out here today, and definitely someone that is to be watched as she continues to grow as a player, and has represented the Vantage Black Sticks on a number of occasions, and I'm sure she's got a few more caps in her as well, as Midlands again look to promote forward, but the Northland girls continue to be resolute in defence, continue to hold their structure, and although they're 4-1 down on the scoreboard, they're still looking to play attractive hockey and looking to take it to this Midlands team.
Not sure if you'd agree, Chris. I think you have to put a lot of this 4-1 winning margin, or leading margin so far, from Bailey's Midlands down to their fitness. They're playing at an exceptionally high tempo, controlling the pace of the game really well, but not really giving those Northland defenders a break. Exceptionally quick up front, but as soon as they lose the ball, you can see straight away numbers sprinting back. And sort of every time Northland look long, they've already sort of got 2-3 players behind the ball. So a huge credit to the fitness of the Midlands women, which so far has carried them through and given them a 4-1 lead in this Women's K-Cup final. About midway through the third quarter, leading 4-1 over Northland.
Yeah, I think the way that Midlands are playing, they're really just letting the ball do the work, and being able to utilise their speed and their fitness by, overloading and countering the strengths of Northland by, going down the width and getting the ball back into the middle. And that speed and fitness is really crucial, especially at the back end of a tournament as well. There's going to be some tired bodies out there. They have had a number of rest days, but it still takes its toll. And what we're seeing is a great example of going out there and continuing to play the game they've been playing all week. I think, as Sam Charlton alluded to earlier in the week when she was interviewed, that they needed to take a couple of games just to build some momentum and get some combinations going. It's always difficult to try and peak it at the right times, but I think for them, what we're seeing today is the way to do it.
See a little bit of frustration there from the Northland attackers. They had the ball in good field position up around the defensive circle of Midlands, but unable to get a result. Staunch defence there from the Midlands girls. And a little bit of frustration creeping in. And a penalty corner there to Bailey's Midlands. A good injection into the circle through the right-hand baseline. A ball played towards the penalty spot and just striking the defender, a foot of a Northland defender, for a short corner. You'd have to think, Chris, if Bailey's Midlands are able to convert here, put them up 5-1, a little over 20 minutes to play, would you suggest that's comfortable?
I don't think they're going to rest on their laurels. They're going to continue to do what they've been doing, and that's what you want to see. They've been playing an attractive brand, and as we see the corner dragged out, Natasha Fitzsimmons with the flick, but it goes high and wide. There's a lot of people following this game, watching it on the live stream and enjoying what they're seeing, and that's what we want to. That's what we want to hear. The Midlands women are really putting in a fantastic effort. But you can't fault the effort of the Northland women either, Ari. They continue to attack while they might have limited opportunities, and another one stifled out there by Rose Cadell. They continue to put the pressure on and continue to make this game what it is, and I think that's what's been so impressive within this first 3 quarters of the match.
Yeah, you're not wrong. And on other days, Chris, 1 goal can win you a game. But certainly they've had their fair share of chances. But what we talked about pre-game, the Baileys, Midlands, strike force, led by McCaw up front, with sort of Charlton and Cadell backing up through the midfield. Very dangerous, but it hasn't been a complete one-horse race. Northland women had some great opportunities. And as we see, they're putting on a pretty aggressive press here. Midlands having to overhead out. So obviously, they're not going to pull this 3-goal deficit back from sitting back. So they've started move to almost more of an aggressive formation. Looking to put some pressure back on Midlands.
So Ari, let's just talk a little bit about what we have in front of us here. We've got, I guess, the dugouts in front of us, in front of the stand, and what used to happen in hockey is it used to have to hold up a card with a number on it, which would be the way that you substituted as Northland earned themselves a penalty corner. Nowadays, especially in women's hockey, they opt for the bib. They hold a bib and they exchange the bib. Your thoughts on the transition from the holding the number up to the transition to holding or offloading a bib as you substitute, and why that might be the choice of substitution technique?
Well, I think with the way hockey's developed, Chris, it's an extremely fast-paced game. Obviously, they've modified it in the last few years with your sort of auto passing and time limits on your penalty corners and things like that. They're just constantly trying to speed up the game. And with rolling substitutes, obviously you can sub as many times as you want. And, that just adds to the tempo of the match as we just see how this Northland attacking penalty corner plays out. It was Sunil with an offload back to the injector, but well defended there by the Baileys Midlands third runner.
Yeah, Natasha Fitzsimmons there, a great intercept, well read. I think you'll find that the way in which these teams approach the game, a lot of time is spent on the attacking and defensive corners as Northland find themselves in space, can't quite connect. A little bit of drama here, plenty of advice going on to the umpire, Amber Church. She's decided to give that one to the Baileys Midlands woman. Yeah, a lot of work goes into the defensive and attacking corners, and as you could see there, Fitzsimmons was ready. She was waiting and knew that was an option they might utilise, and when they did, she was there and ready to pounce.
Yeah, just back to that substituting, Chris. Obviously in hockey, as everyone will know, rolling sub, so you can sub on as many times as you want. As Northland have a good circle entry here in good territory, but well defended by Charlton. And I think with the old-fashioned Chris, holding up with the card was a little bit slow. And I think the passing of the bib, if I had to hazard a guess, I think the third umpires and technical officials, they get pretty picky about players running onto the field before someone has left the field and subbing on not too far away from halfway. As Midlands with a good shot here. And a goal. Well taken.
Ella Gunson
eliminating through the midfield. Beat about 2 or 3 defenders on her way through, dragging the ball onto a reverse stick as we see this replay. And a reverse stick strike.
Diving. Little touch off the keeper, but that was an impressive goal. And I think that's what Northland needed, just a little bit of brilliance to say, hey, we're still in this game. And they strike back, bring the game back to a 2-goal cushion. And there's a few nervous Midlands people operating in this crowd, full of orange, but just coming into the end of the third quarter, impressive effort from Northland. As we see a staunch Midlands supporter, Lincoln Churchill, just walk past and shake his head and sort of bite a couple of fingernails as he thinks to himself what could occur in this next sort of 17 minutes of the Ford NHL Women's Final, the battle for the K-Cup. A little bit of history here, Ari. Since 2000, the Northland women yet to have their name engraved on the K-Cup. Midlands, their only time back in 2013. So for both teams, real urgency to get themselves on that trophy. And I think we've seen that in the way that they've both been playing. It's the calibre of hockey, clearly a step up from what we watched yesterday, especially from the defensive teams. I think has been outstanding, and then the attacking flair. Something that you want to see. And Ella Gunson again on the charge, lost stick there from Kim Tanner. I think we're going to see more goals, Ari, and that's what we want.
I think we are too, Chris. There's a great piece of defending there from Brooke Neal with a flat six tackle on McCaw. But like we said, Chris, this is the pinnacle of women's hockey in New Zealand. And so far we've seen a brilliant game. And what's added to that is, like you just alluded to, both teams playing a positive brand, looking to really take the game to their opposition. It's reasonably hard to win a final sitting back, playing defensively. And it's just good to see both sides playing positive hockey, wanting to go forward, not sitting back. Not a lot of passing the ball around the back. Always sort of looking forward, and then defensively as well. Quite aggressive, looking to win the ball in those sort of high areas rather than sort of sitting back. It's Kim Tanner with some good defensive work there for Bailey's Midlands, winning a free hit.
Appreciate the support of Just Hockey for Hockey New Zealand. They've just given us a little bit of a information about why they are holding these bibs. The players don't need to hold up anything, but the bibs help the players stay on the sideline until the players rotating off get to or over the sideline. Avoid any unwanted penalties. Appreciate your feedback there from Just Hockey. As we see the third quarter coming to an end and the team's having a 2-minute break. Ari, your preference? Jet planes, sour worms, or dinosaurs?
I'm a jet plane man, Chris. I like the red and the purples. Not a big green man. But I know we had sours last night in the final. I don't know what Bridie was up to changing the halftime confectionery for. But yeah, look, I'm a big jet plane man. Probably sometimes one, sometimes none in the quarter breaks. And then I like to go sort of 3 or 4 at halftime.
Four quarters.
Yeah, and you'll see them taking on a little bit of fluid. Some take water, some take Powerade, and especially it's not too hot, but the sun is definitely shining down on these teams, and we're seeing a lot of bright, attractive hockey, and that's what we want to see from these two teams. So they'll take a little bit of water. The coaches will give some final instructions. I think from Northland it's going to be we need to attack, we need to press, we need to put pressure on Midlands. Midlands are going to say we probably need to do the same because we want to go 5-2. We go 5-2, the game's in our hands. They get back to 4-3, it's all on. You might see a keeper come off. And as we know, when the keeper comes off, it gets crazy. It gets real crazy, and that's what we want to see. All right, so, as a neutral, as a fan, as an absolute supporter of the game, we want to see Northland go 4-3. We want to see keeper off. We want to see drama. We want to see goals. We want to see just pure mayhem in this final quarter.
Couldn't have said it better myself, Chris. Absolutely, and I think you had the nail on the head there with Midlands. If they sit back and look to defend this 2-goal lead, 15 minutes in hockey, 2 goals, it isn't a lot. It looks good on the scoreboard, but you can score 2-3 goals very quickly. 15 minutes is a long time, so Midlands will look to be positive. And like you say, go 5-2, but I mean for the K-Cup final and for hockey as a sport, 4-3 keeper off, how good would that be?
Yeah, and we've got some good comments coming in from Deb and Andrew, appreciating all you're doing, Ari, and Garth, he's watching from Australia. You know, there's plenty of people focusing in as Sam Charlton takes a great shot and saved again. Nikki Howe, she's having a bit of a blinder in goal there for Northland, and although she might have conceded 4, I think she's been a real key asset to the Northland team, along with Brooke Neal in that defence. Again, saved.
Absolutely, Chris. She's been staunch the whole match. The 4 goals sort of all coming around that sort of 7-yard area. All sort of tap-ins and deflections and stuff, which quite often you can say aren't at the fault of the goalie, the goalkeeper. As we see some good defence from Northland winning a free hit out. But yes, Chris, it's good to see thoughts and comments coming through on the text machine on that live feed. We encourage feedback, positive or negative, criticisms, advice. And obviously, following this, we have the men's final between the Battle of the Bridge between North Harbour men and Auckland men. So stay tuned for that and keep your comments coming in for that match as well. But what a cracking final 13 minutes we've got shaping up here, Chris.
As Sam Charlton, she just got a little bit tired there and decided to take a wee seat. Just decided to sort of sit down on the job and relax a little bit. Just having a wee sort of chat to the, yeah, I've got it, she says, she knows. Amber Church just said, hey, look, you can't sit down on the turf, all right? You got to stand on your feet. You're a better player when you're wearing your shoes on the turf, so keep it that way. Another chance goes across the goal. We've seen a lot of crash balls today, Ari, but I think in an effective way. So, especially from a Northland point of view, some of the times they've tried to go quite direct, and other times they've worked around the outside. And as we see in that one there, a little bit of space to hit the crash ball, and all you need is a bit of a touch. As we see another crash ball go in and hit the sideboard, but you know, crash balls can be effective if they're used well.
They can be, Chris, and I think perhaps when they're not as effective as when the player's quite stationary, perhaps as the long corner, sort of one pass and then in. If it's like that, the defending team can have a few numbers back. Quite static defenders, obviously, so picking up those balls. But we saw there that last crash ball from Northland, the transfer from the left to the right, and then an early crash ball, so the defence was still shifting. The cover defenders still making their way back, and obviously when the defenders are shifting, holes open up. So by all means, a good thing to exploit. But it's also good they're mixing it up, you know, not just looking at the same option every time. So crash ball here, you know, put your head down and dribble here, you know. There's been good variety in the attack from both sides.
Yeah, and of all people, you'd know about a good crash ball. You love the long handle, and you sort of know how to put the ball onto the hotline. So, yeah, it's good to see. And we've seen a goal already from a nice wee deflection. And as we enter into this final 10 minutes, this is what they call crunch time. Especially here with the game slightly, I guess, in favour of Midlands. But from what we've seen over the last probably 15, 20 minutes, it has really been even, and I think Northland are going to start to throw caution to the wind. You might see a goalkeeper removed at some stage. Ari, talk us through why Northland might decide to take their goalkeeper off and how that's going to affect the way that they play and the way that Midlands play.
Yep, so a common tactic for a side sort of trailing towards the end of the game. So we see another crash ball just let go there by Nikki Howes. A few cheers from the crowd, but obviously hidden from outside the circle, so 16 out. Yeah, so the trailing side in this context, Northland would substitute their goalkeeper, remove their goalkeeper, and a player would then put on a bib with as a kicking fullback, so with full goalkeeper rights. So in the defensive circle, they can use their body, they can use their feet. And then obviously with that, Chris, you're gaining that extra attacker, okay? So your goalie comes off, striker on, you can sort of change your formation more aggressive. So then, for in this context, Northland, or the side who takes their keeper off, it's about controlling position, and you've got a man advantage, so it's about exploiting those gaps and working out where your free player is and creating 2-on-1s and things like that. And then for the side who is winning, in this context, Midlands, you obviously want the ball. You want to get the ball down the other end. And if you can, get the ball into the circle, then obviously you've got an empty net, so you just want the ball going at goal. Obviously, if you can win a penalty corner, obviously you can't substitute on a penalty corner, so the defending side has to defend that with no goalkeeper. So the defender in a bib will put the goalkeeper's helmet on, and we'll have full goalkeeping rights, but obviously a wee bit harder when you don't have pads on and you're not a trained goalkeeper, Chris. And look, we've watched a bit of hockey between us, and we've seen it play out both ways. We've seen teams take their goalie off, score immediately, and we've seen teams take their goalie off and concede. So it's a bit of a lottery, but if coached and played well, it can be a very good thing to exploit. Play on is the call, and no. Ball striking a Northland defender. Penalty corner awarded to Midlands.
Yeah, and I think for those that were watching last night, we saw in both the senior finals the Canterbury teams down and taking their goalkeeper off and using the bib and trying to exploit that. I think you said earlier that in the men's final you were the one who put the bib on and you only touched the ball maybe once, and I think that was a good thing for Canterbury. The less time you're on the ball, the better, and that, Canterbury are able to convert. So if you can utilise it really well, it's an asset. If Midlands score here, it's going to be tough for Northland to come back.
A hell of a strike there. Hitting the left upright and coming back into play.
So you see the replay coming back off the post. Unfortunate for Midlands. Did everything right there, just couldn't quite get it into the goal. They set themselves up for another penalty corner. 4-2 on the scoreboard with just over 8.5 minutes remaining. Crucial time in the game. I tell you what, Ari, Nikki Howe's in the goal for Northland. If it wasn't for her, this could be a very different story.
Absolutely, Chris. I think probably alongside Brooke Neal has been the performers of the Northland team today, and they're my pick. We see the injection and a flick just going above the crossbar there. No trouble for Nikki Howes at all. Yes, like you said, Chris, obviously in the national senior final last night, sort of trailing 1-0, goalkeeper off. I think what we're talking about before with the sub in and the interchange of the bib, I think there was actually a communication breakdown and I was being called off. Obviously, tense time in the match. Coach didn't want me out there and I got handed a bib and I just sort of took that bib and put it on and went kicking fullback. So sort of got yelled at it for doing that, but yeah, goalie off, and then Tom Shoulders Leo just flicking 1-1 and then, in that case, we ended up losing on shootouts, but that's an example of a successful scenario where removing the goalkeeper paid dividends.
I think there was this issue as well, was that you couldn't fit into the bib, so it kind of restricted how you could play the game. Let's say, you've pulled the keeper, as Northland look to attack and nullified again by Midlands. You pull the keeper, you're down, you score. Why not keep the keeper off? If you've got the momentum, why not go for the jugular and say, you know what? We're going to go for the win. We're tied. We're going to be aggressive. We're going to keep 11 field players on. I'm going to go for the win. Thoughts?
It's an interesting point, Chris, as we see an attack down the left-hand flank here from Midlands. No trouble at all. Out for a 16. You know, it's always tough for a coach. You know, you score the equalising goal and you put the goalkeeper back on, but, you know, you've got momentum, but I think a lot of that momentum is quite often down to perceived pressure. The side defending their lead, you know, they think we're a man down. You know, we've got to be defensive. We've got to try sustain this pressure. And I think in this context, Chris, you know, if you've taken your keeper off and you've got players like McCaw running around up front in the opposing team, you probably wouldn't want your goalkeeper off, especially the form Nicky Howes is in, if you absolutely had to. So I think it's quite context-based, but I like the idea of having that momentum and then, yeah, going for the jugular and keeping that player in the bib on, keeping that goalkeeper off.
Some excellent work there from Fran Davies. Northland looking to exploit, sort of teaching Midlands a thing or two about using that right-hand overload after Midlands have been utilising it very well in that, especially that first half, as Ali Gunson goes for another run, and I think we'll find there could be a penalty corner or there could be a goal. No, we've got a penalty corner and a goal. Not quite a goal, but I tell you what, we've got a card. We've got a card. And it has gone. Looks like Renee Ashton is coming off, number 6. So a card and a penalty corner for Northland. Doesn't happen that often. Obviously, something's deemed to be destructive, maybe a little bit earlier.
I think, Chris, I may be wrong, but I think the card was given for Renee Ashton having a strike at goal after the whistle was blown, so a little bit of a player safety issue there. It's their Northland penalty corner. And too high. So for those at home not familiar with the rules, the first strike at goal on a penalty corner, if it is a hit, so not a drag flick, must hit the backboard, that one hitting the netting, so a disallowed goal hence the free hit. And Midlands right down the other end. And a squandered chance for a 16 as we enter the final 5 minutes. Bailey's Midlands holding on to a 2-goal lead. And it's just opened up. The game's really opened up now, Chris, end-to-end stuff. You see a lot more space in the midfield, probably a bit of fatigue setting in. McCaw gets on the ball. Wee bit of a foot trip there. I think there was too much malicious intent there and just a free hit, no card.
And I think for the intensity and the aggressiveness that we've seen from both teams, the umpires have controlled it well. We haven't seen the need to dish out too many cards. I think that's, you know, the sign of a good constructive game as Rode Cadell uses her left to right very well. Again, through that right-hand flank. But Northland defensively really strong. Captain Alana Leyburn has been really strong along with Brooke Neal. They've got a pretty key partnership back there, and I think that's, you know, that's not just this year, that's built up over a number of years playing together, and probably not massive amounts of communication between the two. They just kind of know how each other play and are able to read and understand each other, and they've done well. You know, even though Midlands have scored 4 goals, you've got to be proud of the way that Northland have defended. And to be honest, the way that they've attacked is... Fran Davies does well to nullify that attack, but is dispossessed. A little bit scrappy, but McCaw just calms it down, holds onto the ball and releases. As Gunson's put on the ball and puts a reverse stick in.
So 3 minutes to go, Chris. Nicky Howes has remained on the field, so Northland not substituting their goalie for the extra attacking field player. Chris, and what do you think? Just McCaw and co too dangerous up that top end there to not have the goalkeeper on?
Yeah, and I think, you know, Howes and goal has had to make a number of saves. So they've gone, well, we're actually creating a number of chances. So we'll just stay as we are, and as we see again, Northland hot on attack. But Charlton been very effective. If you had to pick a player of the match, Ari, quite a tough one.
Yeah, I think Sam Charlton's been fantastic in the middle. For Bailey's Midlands, obviously, with the armband, she's led her team, both communication-wise and setting that standard on and off the ball. But I think for me, Chris, it's pretty hard to go away from a core up front. You know, we saw that goal, their first goal of this K-Cup final. That's as good as it gets. That's a perfect example of what a striker needs to be doing around the goal mouth. She's looked dangerous sort of every time she's got the ball above halfway. And that fourth Midlands goal, you saw her picking the ball just over halfway, eliminating, and then amounting to a simple tap-in on the back post. So I'll give McCaw the nod there, Chris.
Yeah, she has played well, and I think, you know, for McCaw, she's had a really good season playing club hockey down in the 03, down in Christchurch, for the illustrious Carlton Reckless Hockey Club. And the spark that she's brought to that team, she's really showcased today. Look, I can't probably go past Sam Charlton. I think she's played really, really well. Like you said, she's really led her troops. As we see her intercept the ball there, she's been on the ball. She's actually, I'll tell you what, she's played most of the game with a smile on her face. And as you would, with the way that her team has played, and she scored a fantastic goal. Remember a young Sam Charlton turning up on the doorsteps of Canterbury Hockey back in 2010 and spent a year down in Christchurch, and look at her now. She's one of the best players in the world. Come a long way from moving down from Tauranga and leaving the golden sands of Mount Maunganui to the cold Christchurch. She didn't like the cold, but you know, today's a beautiful sunny day, and her along with the rest of her team have put in a magnificent performance. And I think with 30 seconds to go, the Bailey's Midlands women will close out this game and pick up their second K-Cup. Quite rightly so, Ari.
McCaw with one final dart at goal. And there's the hooter, ladies and gentlemen. Your 2017 Ford National Hockey League K-Cup champions, Bailey's Midlands women. And
yeah.
Thoroughly deserved, I think, Chris. You know, Northland performed honourably throughout all four quarters, scored two very good goals. But you have to say, Chris, Bailey's Midlands women, just on their day, very clinical, fit, played the game with a high tempo, and you'd have to say thoroughly deserve this title.
Yeah, I think a full credit to Midlands. A fantastic effort. Today they were definitely the best team, and I think they showcased everything that they've been about over a number of years. And to pick up their second title is a tremendous effort. The girls are, as you can see, pretty stoked. Hugs all round, and a fantastic effort from the group, being able to put in probably their best performance of the week. They played pretty well in the semi-final, but I think they stepped it up a notch. And for all those viewers at home, we hope you enjoyed what they had to offer. And look, let's give credit to the Northland women as well. They put in a spirited effort. They defended well. Maybe didn't take all the opportunities that they had, but it was a fantastic effort for them. And for them, it's probably going to be a little bit disappointing because they've been in this position before, but I think they can hold their heads high. They can be proud of their efforts. And yeah, that was one hell of a final. Fitting of the Ford NHL in 2017, fitting of the teams we had on display, the players that we had involved, and a great way to end the women's Ford NHL here in Wellington, in the capital city, on Sunday the 24th of September. As we now look forward to the Battle of the Bridge for the Challenge Shield, the men's Ford NHL. The North Harbour men taking on Auckland in what will be an exciting end-to-end game as the Midlands girls, they start to dance, they start to party. They're pretty stoked with what they've been able to achieve, so congratulations to them. We'll let them enjoy the moment. We'll be back with the men's final in just over half an hour.
Auckland, New Zealand, Tāmaki Makaurau, Aotearoa, a vibrant cosmopolitan city of 1.5 million people, set upon a natural playground of 48 volcanic cones, nestled between two dramatic coastlines. This November, we welcome the world, the Hockey World League Final.
To play those games against the top teams in the world, I think that's what we're really excited about.
It's nice that they're coming to our hometown now and we get to play them here.
Argentina are always fiery. They've got the skill and they've got the potential to rip open any team.
They'll be a good defensive side and they'll just pop one in at the last minute and make you really work for a win.
Be a little bit different having England rather than GB.
They're on the up as well. Obviously, they're the gold medalists from last year. Another European side who know how to play hockey. They pass the ball well, they play a good team game, and they've got a few dangerous strikers up front.
Korea, always a really challenging side. Their basic skills are always really high, and the Dutch, they're like the pinnacle of world hockey. For the crowd, that's amazing to watch. For us, it's actually pretty hard to deal with. The USA have just done really well, actually. They won their World League semi-final, and we know that they're a really fit and physical team.
And the home team, the Vantage Blacksticks.
Obviously, we'll have lots of our own fans there, but to have like other people come over as well, I think that's really awesome.
Our turf, our time.
Our turf, our time.
The Hockey World League Final, November 17 to 26, Auckland, New Zealand. Tickets are on sale now from ticketek.co.nz.
On the outside of the arm. Yeah, well, No. It's good actually. Like, the girls been playing in the afternoon. Yeah, exactly. I think so, yeah, I can't remember. Presentation of the K-Cup.